Have you ever reached the end of the month, checked your bank account, and wondered where has all your money went to? You are not alone. The average person loses track of 20% of their monthly spending simply because they don't plan ahead. Monthly budgeting isn't just about restricting your spending. It's about gaining control over your financial future. Think of it as a GPS for your money. Without it, you're essentially driving blindfolded, hoping you'll reach your destination. In this video, I'll go through how I go about budgeting. Sit tight and let's begin. So this is a Google Spreadsheet that I created. So first, we have the budgeting tab over here, and it shows my income, expenses, and savings all in this tab. I use the zero-based budgeting so that I know where all my money is coming in from and going out to. And on the right-hand side over here, you can see the percentage of expenses or savings against my monthly income. Take, for example, for traveling, I allocated 10% a month to traveling, but it does not mean that I'm spending this $350 every single month. And if I do not travel during, let's say, November or October, this $700 will be channeled into my traveling fund. I'll show you this traveling fund in a while. And what I'm interested is actually the savings rate. In Singapore, we do have something called the CPF, Central Provident Fund, which is a mandatory contribution from employees. So we have to contribute 20% of our salary every month. So I'm only interested in these two figures over here. 38% of my savings of my monthly income goes to either basically goes to my investment, right? The figure over here, we take note, is 1.4K. Next, moving on to the P&L tab, which is also known as profit and loss. This is where I record all my actual income and expenses over here. The leftovers will be channeled into my savings account. This is why I mentioned that I'm only interested in my stocks and Forex allocation of the $1.4 thousand. After I input all my salaries, my expenses, my savings, I'm left with all this. Over here, you can see it's close to 1.5K. I know that this figure is more than what I budgeted, which is 1.4K. And I would have roughly know that I spent within my means during this month. This is not a big deal for me because what I'm really interested is just the savings rate, and all other amounts can be used for other expenses or even fund my shopping, having good food, etc. Over here, you can see I allocated $350 into my travel fund and experience fund. And if I do not use them this month, this will be channeled into my travel fund, which I'll show you later in the balance sheet tab. Another thing to take note is if I have another check, if let's say I accidentally press too much zeros behind, right? I have this check to ensure that my balance remains zero. This allows me to perfectly track all my income equals expenses. By the way, this template is still work in progress. And if you want a copy of this template, check out the link in the description below. Next, we have the balance sheet tab where I list all my assets over here. So these figures are as of month end, and I extract them from my various banks account, brokerage accounts, and I separate them by liquidity. Cash, which is the most liquid, then followed by investments, and of course, assets that I can't touch will be under non-current asset. I also track my month-over-month changes in terms of monetary value as well as percentage. I'll take note that all these figures are just fictitious, right? It's not representative of what I actually have or spend or earn during the year. And at the bottom over here, you can see all the savings accounts or funds that I mentioned earlier. So over here, the travel funds. So it's something that was safe across the year. So right now, if let's say I want to buy a plane ticket, maybe a flight to New York costs maybe $15,000, and I couldn't afford this because I do not have enough allocation to buy that business class ticket that cost $15,000. And the last check for this tab is actually this tie to cash check, right? So the sum of all these funds will tally to my total cash and cash equivalent. Because whenever I want to, let's say, do a travel or have some experience over here, I can immediately take out money from my bank account to do whatever I want. And lastly, I will check on the analysis tab to see if I need to do any rebalancing of my portfolio. So right now, my target allocation is 10% for crypto, stock 60%, forex 25%, and cash on hand is around 5%. But currently, my allocation is more than 80% on stocks, right? Because as most of you or some of you have followed me for since I started this content creation journey, I was heavily invested in Palantir, and recently the stock price of Palantir has soared, not to the moon yet, but it's performing well, which is why the allocation is sort of skewed towards stocks right. And yeah, that is how I do my budgeting every month. If you want to know how to manage your money and use the 50-30-20 rules, check out the video here. Next, let's see the trade breakdowns for this week. All right, so here we have the trade breakdown for this week. I only have one trade I took this week, which is Coinbase. So without further ado, I'll do a trade breakdown, right? So on the middle time frame, we can see that price actually reaccumulated over here, right? A few times before proceeding to push higher, giving us the sign of strength and the first retracement over here. So after I see this very strong impulse to the upside, I waited for a pause over here, right? For price to continue accumulating before pushing higher. So this is what I've seen on the middle time frame. And so when price was hugging the moving average, you see the moving average going sideways. That was the time where I decided to look at my even higher time frame. Okay, so you can see the higher time frame is making a very nice uptrend, right? We have a higher high over here, higher low, higher high, higher low. So this is considered a uptrend. So I was considering a continuation of Coinbase to higher because of the bullish overall sentiment in the crypto space. So over here, I've seen my entry model playing out. So we have a flush down below the MA, and we claim above price reclaim above the moving average. Okay, and in hindsight, this was actually a late entry because the first entry I should have taken was here. So when price actually opened, right, on Friday, when price was pushing higher, I could have already broken even on this strong impulse to the upside. But unfortunately, I just took the entry here because everything was quite a kind of lining up, right? And yep, I was expecting price to at least show some more strength to the upside because of all the bullish sentiments around crypto. So unfortunately, this was a quick loss. So I believe it was within yep, one 15-minute candle. So I actually entered here on this candle. So when price push up, the next candle it just took me out and it just went to shit after that. Yep. So that is all for this week and -1. And I ended up November was a positive. I think it was positive one-ish because I only had two small winners and this one loser. Yep. That is all for this breakdown.